Okay, so here we are, lesson 1. Brilliant. First of all, well done you for setting the time aside to come and do something like this. I love it when people come to study and they want to kind of get better and explore new things and try out new ideas, which can sometimes be a bit of a challenge, which is great. And this instrument will present some challenges, but also loads and loads of enjoyment and fun. And chances for you to connect with other people to play music, which is ultimately what it's all about, isn't it? So in this session, we're going to be doing a very, very introductory bit of information about the drums, setting up and how to hold it. That's the focus of this instrument lesson today. Tomorrow's one will focus a bit more on starting to make some sounds and combining sounds and then giving some rhythm ideas to practice those sounds, okay? So today is kind of a getting set up and a bit of background about the instrument. So the pandeiro, it's associated a lot with Brazilian music. It's found in Brazil most often. There are versions of frame drums, tambourines, of course, all over the world in different global percussion styles and traditions. But the pandeiro is essentially the Brazilian version of that. It's a great instrument, so it's built on kind of a wooden shell. It has quite often brass or other kinds of things, other kinds of metals for jingles, and quite often an animal skin, but not always. Sometimes we have plastic skins which have quite a different sound. So quite a high sound, and these are quite often tuned quite high. My particular one here, I've had for maybe, I don't know, 20 years, something like that. And it's got a beautiful sort of warm sound because the skin is very played in. I haven't changed the head, hence the tape. So the pandeiro, there's a few things you might want to consider when we're setting up. One is tuning it. Quite often you'll get a little key like this. It's got a little hexagonal sort of hole there. And these go on the lugs. I'm not going to tune this in the video, but how I would do this to start from scratch is I might undo all of these down to the loosest they go and then finger tighten them all, because quite often on drums like this you can see that it's not highly regular. It's a handmade artisan drum, which is wonderful, but it does mean it might be slightly less regular than something that's perhaps been made in a factory, like this kind of one, okay? So what we're going to do first of all is get a good sound on the drum, and how I would recommend to do that is detune the whole thing, taking care that nothing falls off, and then finger tighten everything. And I think for a drum this size, it's kind of okay because you're making quite small adjustments, usually just like a quarter turn or a half turn if it's very loose, just to sort of put that on and make turns. Now, mine is quite squeaky because it's very tight. Now I'm quite happy with how mine sounds at the moment, but if you want any specific tips about tuning, just message me because each drum is going to be a bit different. But I'm quite happy to go around rather than always go across on this drum, because we only have 6 lugs and it's not super tight if you listen to the sound of this one. This drum, I like it tuned quite low so I can actually bend the note on the top with my thumb, which I'll show you another time. So that's the bit about tuning. In terms of holding the instrument, this is really, really important. The first thing that's going to make you sound amazing on a pandeiro is being relaxed. Not years of technique training. Being relaxed and enjoying yourself. So one of the ways to do that is to make sure that your shoulders are not up in your ears and you're not gradually bringing the drum really high up. So you kind of just make sure that when you're holding it, you just kind of hold it like this to the side of you, first of all, and then just pick it up and put your thumb on the top. Now, can you see I'm actually putting my whole thumb on the top rather than like this? When I put my thumb like this, what happens is I take a lot of pressure here. As soon as I do this, I've got this strengthened line here, which is really, really nice and feels very secure. This is going to allow the drum to slip because there's nothing to stop it, okay? So that's a good tip straight away. One is where to hold it on your body. So I would keep it kind of waist height to me, so obviously that's going to be different for each person's waist. Around waist height, with my elbows not completely tucked in and not out like this, because as soon as I turn this like this, I'm getting a lot of pressure up here. So kind of just relaxed, like you're just picking your arm up like that, offering something, yeah? Here it is. And something I really enjoyed hearing when I was first learning about, is it like this? Is it like this? Is it like this? two things that came to mind that were really, really helpful from previous advice I've had from my teachers is, first of all, about the axis of the drum. So what you really want to do is make sure that you are quite straight here rather than overextended like this or like this, right? Now you can check how you look on that by using a stick and literally treating it as an extension of your arm like this. If it's too far over like that way, the stick won't join with the drum anymore. If it's too far this way, obviously it will push. Do you see? So what we're looking for is this axis running through. So it's just a straight line, most efficient way to do anything. Yeah, straight line. Right through the middle. And we're going to tip the drum up and down like this. And actually in lesson 4, we're going to be doing loads of stuff with this technique, okay? So tipping the drum first of all. Yeah. And I would, as a warm-up, just do that, first of all. And check it's not going like this. Or like this, yeah? But it's just as if you've got that axis running through, right through the middle, yeah? And do that as slowly and as quickly as you like. Great. Just that first of all. And if you want to also warm up the other hand, though we won't be ultimately holding it in the right hand, so it's quite a good way just to get your forearms warmed up and your wrists activated a little bit. One thing to say about the second tip, I almost forgot. The second tip is that in terms of what angle to have the drum, I remember that somebody once told me, imagine that you've got, you know, you're in Brazil, you're at Carnival, it's your last 5 reais in your pocket, you can get one more drink and you're really thirsty, but you've got to put it on a tray and you don't want to waste it. It's as much as you can tip that tray without the drink falling off. Yeah. So if we're starting to play where the drum is very tipped, what's going to happen is your right arm is going to have to compensate for that. Ultimately, also, if it's too far this way, you're going to be like this, okay? So you want it so that you can have it kind of flat to your waist-ish, but again, it's not exact science, it's your body, and slightly tilted, okay? That's going to be a really nice way to play. So try and play around with that tip with the axis like that, quite exaggerated, like flipping it all the way over 180, yeah? All right, so go away and practice that first of all. That is your homework for today. That's literally it. Making sure you're comfortable, you're relaxed. Don't forget to breathe through the whole week. And also trying to just warm up the wrist and get a good position to hold the instrument. That is really, really important. Through the sessions this week, we're going to be looking at a few different styles of Brazilian music. So we're going to look at one which is called coco from the northeast of Brazil in Pernambuco state, which has many, many, many ways to play a rhythm for that style. But we're going to focus on one which allows us to combine 4 different sounds in an 8-hit sequence. And then we're going to look also at some samba grooves, so from more like Rio de Janeiro sort of region, Sao Paulo, around that kind of samba carnival sort of tradition. Some of that is going to be using a new technique on the fingers for a bass, which is going to be the last video, or the second to last. And some of it's going to be looking at using tipping and all kinds of different techniques. So you've got lots to look forward to. Can you stand it? Okay, so join us tomorrow for lesson